Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our wonderful Drarry Advent Calendar with the story A Husband for Christmas by Jolly Love. Today we're at day 23, Step into Christmas. Christmas Day was happening early in the Weasley household. Charlie had to go back to his dragons, and it seemed as if one female dragon was finally getting hatchlings. He was not going to miss it, and so, after some discussion, Molly had agreed to hold Christmas 2 days early, but not more. Charlie agreed, though whenever he thought nobody was watching him, he was checking his watch. He wasn't the only one to look forward to some peace and quiet again. Harry, though pretending to be happy and playing with the children, really just wanted to go home and sleep. 3 days ago he had finally opened up to Draco, and it ended up being the biggest mistake of his life. Well, not really. If the Slytherin had exploded right in front of him, then that would have been the mistake of his life. For now it was his lack of stopping Ginny to go and play one more game. While Harry grinned and played with Hugo and his newly given present, Hermione walked over and sat down beside him. She brushed Hugo's hair beside his ear, and while the boy climbed onto her lap, she looked at Harry. "What's going on, Harry? You're looking even worse than usually." Harry huffed and sighed.
"Thanks, Hermione. You really know how to raise my spirits."
Hermione shook her head. "Harry, tell me, what's going on that keeps you this sad? Is it something with Lord Malfoy? I've seen the way you two look at each other." She would probably never lose her talent of seeing right through him and run. Well, they had known each other for so many years that she could probably read his mind with even a glance between feeding 12 children.
"Nothing even happened."
"Oh, dear." Hermione smiled and watched as Hugo walked off to find his father. "If nothing happened, then that wouldn't be your first sentence. What took place a few days ago?" Harry sighed and rubbed his forehead.
"I may have kissed him."
Hermione widened her eyes. "Harry, I thought you had immersed yourself so much into the wizarding culture that you knew better than to do something like that." Nodding, Harry stared at the floor again. He should have known better. Should have also known better not to follow Draco to the bedroom. They had fallen asleep there, right in each other's arms. It had been one of the first nights where he hadn't laid awake for several hours until he had fallen asleep with wet eyes. "Did he kiss you back?" Hermione asked with a slight interest in her voice. I was sure she tried to hide how much she wanted to know about it. However, as much as she could read his mind, he could read her thoughts as well.
"He did."
Hermione grinned broadly and shook her head. "Then why are you moping around as if all of this had been a dream?"
"He said it shouldn't have happened and I should leave."
Harry sighed and ran his own hand through his hair. He was sure it looked much more unruly than before. His best friend nodded. "And since you know how to follow proper wizarding rules, you left, didn't you?" Harry crossed his legs and placed his hand on his upper legs.
"I had to. He looked disgusted with himself. I've been around enough people in my life to know when they aren't gay and just want to try something. He's one of them, and I've let myself fall in love with him all over again."
Hermione got up and pulled him with her into a tight hug. "I'm sorry, Harry. Maybe he was just surprised. He does have to get married until Christmas Day, right? Maybe he thought of asking you and—"
"Hermione, it's fine. We don't have to give reason to this situation. I might just need another year until I'm good to go."
From the kitchen, Ron emerged with 3 plates of deliciousness floating behind him with ease. There were cookies and a few other mouth-watering desserts on it. He had clearly heard what Harry had said, as he sighed when he placed the plates in front of them.
"Maid, you don't need to defend yourself in front of us. I know Ginny's death was hard. I couldn't imagine losing Hermione."
He smiled sadly and shook his head.
"As for that other thing, Hugo told me you had a problem with Malfoy."
Harry chuckled and shook his head.
"Not really. You might have a problem with me, but it's all done and over."
He accepted a plate and started eating a cookie. Ron frowned slightly.
"And Scorpius, the boy really loves you." "I don't know. I can't really stay in contact with him when Draco doesn't want me around."
"Does that mean they'll lose their home?" Hermione asked and sighed. "So Simon wins again. He really knows how to pick them." Harry nodded with a dark expression.
That's why matchmakers are the worst idea in the wizarding community. If people like Simon get into the system, They can stay the favourite, and once it's too late, drop out and still win.
Ron shook his head.
So you'll let them become homeless? Pansy wrote that she'd take them in, and should I have a problem with Draco staying with her in the house, she'd be happy to just bring the children somewhere for me to look after them,
Harry explained, remembering the caring words of his friend. She was thinking of him more than she should have, according to the wizarding culture. Then again, they had also talked quite a few times and gotten rather close over the last few years. Did she tell you that she would be talking sense into him? Hermione chuckled. I could see that happening very well. Ron chuckled as well and shook his head.
Also, sometimes you need to give people a second chance.
Harry snorted, showing some kind of honest happy emotion for the first time this evening.
Is my best friend really telling me I should wait and hope to get together with none other than Draco Malfoy? Absolutely not.
Ron grimaced.
Well, I don't remember having seen you happier than when you were around him and his son, so maybe I am.
People do change, Ron, Hermione added, and then looked at Harry. Maybe the two of you were just going too fast. If he stays at Pansy, you'll surely meet him once or twice, when you're looking after her children. Harry nodded. They could talk then. Maybe. Or maybe it really was too late for anything, and Draco had meant what he said. Whatever it was, he was surely going to wait and have to see what happened. To be continued.